Let me tell you how I went from being on food stamps to paying off over $10,000 of debt in 1 year, paying off my car, which had a 10% interest rate, saving my first 10K, then hitting 25K, bought a house, paid cash for my wedding, built my net worth to over $100,000, and how you can do it too. Don't run away from this video when I say this, because this is actually what I did. The two main concepts here are mindset and budgeting. Let me explain. On the mindset side, I had to let go of a lot of past beliefs and past patterns that I had. I had to learn to live in gratitude instead of always complaining about what I didn't have. I had to learn to switch from a lack mindset to an abundance mindset. The mindset piece is really the biggest piece of all of this. I had to get out of victim mentality. Don't get triggered by that. It's just what it is. When you are in victim mentality, you become a victim to your circumstance and you get stuck in that circumstance. I started being my own cheerleader, and I had to train my mind to be my own cheerleader instead of my biggest critic. And I had to constantly tell myself I can do hard things, because this journey wasn't easy, but I constantly had to remind myself I can do it. When I started to get my mindset together, and mind you, I had to work on this all throughout my journey, and I still work on it today, but once I started making real progress, I really started seeing things change in my life. On the budgeting side, I had to learn to make zero-based budgets, meaning that I give every single dollar I make a job. I learned all about cash stuffing and started doing that very, very strictly, and it really changed my financial life. I learned about emergency funds, why to create one, and how to have one, and I worked that into my budget and made it a priority. Having that emergency fund allowed me to completely focus on paying off my debt without worrying about going back into debt. I learned about variable expenses and why they are so important. Variable expenses are basically your spending habits, and you're putting limits on yourself so that you do not keep overspending and impulse spending. This is part of cash stuffing. I budgeted with pen and paper only, no budgeting apps, because budgeting apps make it too easy for you to get complacent. I wanted to get physical with my money, and every single time I was paid, I budgeted on pen and paper. It started to get really exciting once I started noticing that it was changing my life. I gave myself permission to experiment and not be perfect. All I had to do was be consistent. So every single time that I'm paid and every single month I make budgets, it's okay that I experiment with different concepts. All I need to do is stay consistent. I do not have to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy. This allowed me to really find what worked for me, and I did find what worked for me. The three main budgets I create are my monthly overview. I planned it on a calendar, and I would create a paycheck budget every time I was paid. The monthly overview was to set up my goals and see how much my month would go. The calendar was to plan everything out at a bird's eye view, and then the paycheck budgets reference these two things to direct my money where I wanted it to go. A very key element was that I was consistent. I did not let myself quit on myself, even though sometimes I wanted to. I just kept pushing, and it really paid off. Throughout most of my journey to hitting these goals, I didn't even make more than $40,000 a year. And like I said, when I started, I was a single mom and I was on food stamps. Anybody can do this. You just have to believe in yourself, and you have to be consistent and be committed to learning and doing better. I built guides based on my journey that take you step by step through these processes and teach you how to do these things for yourself so you can change your own life. If you're interested in investing in those, they are in my bio. Take a step, make a change. You can take control of your life and change it. Take it from me. I did it myself. You got this.